All right, good evening. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 7 p.m. and welcome everyone. For the audience here tonight, my name is Tim Cremens and I am the Vice Chair serving as the presiding officer over the Planning Commission meeting. In consideration of others and the business conducted tonight, please silence your phones and any electronic devices and refrain from speaking unless recognized. If you are in attendance and wish to speak during public comment and or public hearing, speaker cards are located in the lobby area towards the back of the chamber and at the front dais. Please fill out a speaker card and submit it to the recording admin before the close of the public comment and or public hearing period. Again, this is a public meeting for the community of Glendora. We appreciate and respect your participation here this evening. I'd now like to request an oral roll call.
Thank you. So at this time, I would like to conduct an oral roll call and request that each member respond with present when their name is called. Commissioner Davis.
Present.
Commissioner Koss.
Present.
Commissioner Norwood.
Present.
Vice Chair Cremens.
Present.
And then Chair Faber is absent. So let the record show 4 members are present.
All right, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, does anyone wish to reorder or add to the agenda? Seeing as there are none, we will move along. Have any public comments been received?
I haven't received any public comments, but if anybody's wishing to speak, no. I just have one for public hearing item number 3.
Okay, so do I still go through the presiding officer? Okay.
Super.
All right, so now we will open the public comment period and invite members of the public to address the legislative body. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Speaking once on both on and off agenda items. Please fill out a speaker card and submit it to the recording admin before the close of the public comment period. Once recognized, speakers should advance to the podium, state your name and the subject matter you wish to discuss. But we have no public comment cards, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. So we'll go ahead and close the public comment period. And moving along, I'd like to invite the commissioners to give us their statements and reports. So that said, Commissioner Koss.
We have about just short of an hour until the polls close in California. So I would like to encourage anybody who has not voted yet to please do so. If you are in line at 8 o'clock, you can still vote. So if you have not voted, please do so.
Commissioner Davis? Nothing. Okay. And Commissioner Norwood?
I have nothing, thank you.
All right. I'd now like to invite reports from the Community Development Director, Jeff Kugel, and Assistant City Attorney, Christy Marie Lopez, who is here with us via Zoom.
I'll just give last month, just a brief update on different things that the Community Development Department is working on. At the last meeting, the commission got an update on the projects regarding the objective design guidelines, as well as the city's Metro grant to do a visioning project around the future light rail station. And both those projects are on track, and we're anticipated to complete them next summer. And then a little bit after that, we'll probably be getting into updating the general plan, which is a major long-range planning update. Also, the council a couple meetings ago adopted an economic action plan. And one of the things that we've been asked to do along the way is to, in order to incentivize things like more of a nightlife, is to take a look at our regulations regarding alcohol. And so we're starting to work on an ordinance, very early stages of an ordinance to address that. So that might be something that comes to you in the future. Also, some recent applications in the last month, larger applications. We did receive an application from Lewis Homes for the development of a portion of Sunflower School at the corner of Sunflower and Gladstone, and that's an 83-unit housing development application. As part of that, and this has already happened because we're going to begin construction, the extension of the San Dimas Trail, San Dimas Wash Trail, which currently ends at Sunflower. Just to let you know that the Lewis company did dedicate a portion of their property for the trail at the entry to the future entry to the San Dimas Wash Trail. So we have that. Also, we received an application in the last month for a 46-unit development on Arrow Highway from Malia Homes, 631 to 657 East Arrow Highway. And so we're just starting to process that application. And in this month, we are anticipating an application from the Olson Company at property at the terminus of San Jose and Woodward. That's property that the city identified as surplus, and the city is in escrow to sell. And Olson Company's been having a couple of community meetings, and we're anticipating an application from them to come in before December. And that's an update of what's some of the big things going on with the department.
Thank you. And then Assistant City Attorney.
I think you're muted, Christy.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the opportunity to speak quickly. The election is afoot, as we all know. My office, will be returning with reports back on how that impacts the city of Glendora, whatever new housing laws or different types of legislation that the city needs to be aware of as we move forward through the land use process in the next, calendar year when those laws take effect. So we'll be sure to give you updates along the way. And next month, I'm sure we'll have a more meaningful report for you.
Great, thank you. All right, moving along to major wireless facilities permit to allow a wireless telecommunications facility at 1447 East Route 66, project number PLN 24-0011, and I'd like to declare the public hearing open.
Forget to invite, the second one, invite.
Okay. Now I'd like to invite Technician Irvin Adolfo and Principal Planner Hans Friedel to report.
Good evening, members of the Commission. My name is Irvin Adolfo, Planning Technician of the Planning Division within Community Development. Tonight, I'm presenting a request for approval of a conditional use permit to allow a wireless telecommunications facility at 1447 East Route 66, project number PLN 24-0011. Staff recommends the adoption of a categorical exemption pursuant to 15303 of the California Environmental Quality Act guidelines and adopt a Planning Commission resolution approving a major wireless facility permit for the proposed project. Planning Division received an application from Yukon Group on behalf of AT&T for a major wireless facility permit to construct a new wireless facility designed as a faux eucalyptus tree tower at the corner of an existing commercial lot. This application is being processed as a major WFP in accordance with the finding standards, conditions, and provisions outlined in GMC 21.03.100 of the Glendora Zoning Code. The subject property in the eastern corner of a triangular-shaped commercial lot bordered by a railroad right-of-way to the north and a city-owned right-of-way to the south. The proposed facility is in the preferred location more than 120 feet from the nearest residential structures. On this slide, it shows the view from the parking structure of Eden Gardens Cafe. In this view is the eastern edge of the parking lot near the valet parking only gate. On this slide, it shows the unstriped area of the parking lot where the tower is to be proposed. The proposed site plan is to install a 60-foot tall grounded-mounted tower designed as a faux eucalyptus tree to blend in with the urban canopy along Route 66 and minimize visual impact. The tower will include 15 panel antennas to provide necessary coverage. The ground-mounted equipment will be enclosed by a 14 by 20-foot enclosure screened by a 7-foot tall concrete masonry unit CMU wall for further screening that matches the surrounding environment. Here are a couple photo sims, existing view looking east. On this next slide is the proposed mono-eucalyptus tree tower looking east. Here's another existing view looking west. On this next slide, it shows the proposed tower. On this last slide is showing existing view looking from Compromise Line. And here shows the proposed view looking south from Compromise Line. As of October 24, 2024, hearing notices were mailed to all the property owners within a 300-foot radius, and a notice was published in the San Gabriel Valley Examiner. To date, staff has received no inquiries or oppositions to the project. Recommendations for the Planning Commission is to adopt a categorical exemption pursuant to 15303 of the California Environmental Quality Act guidelines and adopt a resolution of the Planning Commission to the City of Glendora, California, approving a major wireless facility to allow a major wireless telecommunications facility at 1447 East Route 66, project number PLN 24-0011. The applicant, Sonal from Yukon Group, on behalf of AT&T, Hans Friedel, our principal planner, and I are available to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. At this point, we'd like to open the public testimony and invite members of the public. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes, speaking only on this agenda item. If you are in attendance, please fill out a speaker card and submit it to the recording admin before the close of the public testimony period. Once recognized, speakers should advance to the podium, state your name and the subject matter you wish to discuss. Do we have any public comment cards?
I have not received any. Is anybody wishing to speak? Nope, we have none.
Okay. We'll go ahead and close the public testimony portion of the public hearing and close the public hearing. And we'll now open it up for discussion and deliberations from the commission. We'll start with Commissioner Koss.
Yeah, I don't really have any questions. I think the eucalyptus tree will be pretty much, I think it'll blend in. I mean, it's going to be surrounded by a bunch of other trees. I don't have a problem with it.
Mr. Davis?
I don't have any questions either, but I think that's a perfect site for a cell tower. I think they should all be located similar spots, as away from homes and closer to trains and planes and buses and stuff like that. That's all.
Commissioner Norwood?
Yeah, I have no comments. I think appears to be a good location, a good project.
All right. With that said, I'd like to request a motion.
I'll
A
make a
motion to
motion.
approve. I wasn't here last one.
Okay, you move, I'll second.
So we have a motion made by Commissioner Davis, seconded by Commissioner Koss. I will now conduct an oral roll call. Commissioner Davis?
Aye.
Commissioner Koss?
Aye.
Commissioner Norwood?
Yes,
Vice Chair Crimmins?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
All right. So recommendation that the Planning Commission adopt a categorical exemption pursuant to 15303 of the California Environmental Quality Act guidelines and adopt Planning Commission Resolution PC 2024-10, entitled A Resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Glendora, California, approving a major wireless facility permit to allow a wireless telecommunications facility at 1447 East Route 66, project number PLN 24-0011. Moving on to conditional use permit request to allow contractor's equipment yard at 637 East Route 66, file number PLN 21-0028. And I'd like to invite City Planner Mark Carnahan to report.
Good evening, members of the commission. Tonight for your consideration, oh, there it is. Tonight, oh, no worries. Get used to the new setup. Good evening, members of the commission. Mark Carnahan, city planner. Tonight for your consideration is a conditional use permit. It's being requested, which will allow an existing construction contracting business at the property located at 637 East Route 66 to utilize the rear portion of the site as an equipment yard area for their business, mostly for overnight parking of the vehicles and equipment. The subject property located on the north side of Route 66 between Pasadena Avenue and Glenwood Avenue. The property maintains a general planned land use designation of Route 66 specific plan and an implementing zone of service commercial. The municipal code describes the RSC service commercial zoning district as, quote, is intended to provide a variety of smaller scale commercial, office, and light industrial manufacturing uses. Its general features of the district include 1, streetscape enhancement, 2, establishment of locally serving commercial uses, 3, facilitation of site improvements and rehabilitation, and 4, facilitation of lot consolidation. I just wanted to read that quote because that's sort of what applies a lot to this proposal. It is a locally serving business in which they are going to be conditioned to do several improvements to the site, as I outlined. The property's fairly small, though. It is 0.32 acres in size. It's 700. It does have a 700 square foot commercial office. It was built in the 40s, and a 900 square foot rear structure that was built between the 40s and 60s. The front of the location is mostly asphalt, and the rear of the property is mostly undeveloped. Parking and landscaping at the property do not comply with current parking standards, which are mostly asphalt and parking lot area or gravel. Some of this parking is also located within the front setback area, which is sort of undefined. None of the parking is defined actually at the site. The rear portion of the site also includes mostly chain link fences, which are with worn screening. It also includes no parking lot shade street trees or screening. Here's some additional photos of the site. We should probably note, though, the existing carport structure in this structure, that little structure has been demolished. And the site, over the last couple of years since the property was purchased by the applicant, has been improved. They've been removing and cleaning up the site, so much so that it is now in a far more better shape than its adjacent neighbors. To illustrate again the existing buildings on the site, there's one existing front office, which is the front building. Again, it's a small structure. It serves as the primary business office. And the second one is this rear building, which is about 900 square feet, and it serves basically as break rooms for their staff and crews. Both these buildings would exist as is right now, and they would not have any additions to them. The site here, again, it's showing its long, narrow nature of the site. It was purchased by the applicant in 2021. The business is Silva Backhoe Services Construction. They were issued a business license in that year. With that business license, we did require that basically it was for office use only because the equipment office portion of this project did require a CUP. Later that year, they did submit the CUP, and staff has been working with them since this time to get the application to the point where it can be considered by the commission. If this application is approved for this CUP, the equipment yard would be brought into compliance. So the term, the CP being requested for the construction yard would allow this as the permitted use. CPs are allowed to basically our discretionary uses, which we believe could serve the community, in which case conditions can be imposed as outlined by the city. And the planning commission can impose those as long as they believe they are being drafted to show compliance with the city's findings. Operations. We drafted kind of unique conditions of approval for the site, being that it's slowly going to be being improved. They've outlined to me that some of these will be done earlier than we conditioned, but based on the site conditions, understanding that the site right now is already, I would say, in somewhat more compliance than their neighbors, and they are coming to us with a request. We're going to be kind of working friendly with them and to understand that they are going to be bringing it into even more compliance. So as we outlined for the conditions, only vehicles and equipment and associated with the business shall be using the parking area and the rear storage area in the back. Outdoor storage of any kind that is not part of the business will not be allowed. Business operations of the site shall be in compliance with the general operating standards of the city's code. And the operating hours for the storage yard portion of the site shall be between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. Improvements that we outlined for the CP are within 6 months of the approval. They shall basically install the required ADA handicap parking and the ADA path of travel from the public sidewalk to the front of the entrance. They're supposed to do the vehicle entrance improvements at the vehicle entry, and they should do the existing perimeter fencing shall either have new mesh screening attached to the chain link, or they shall replace it with like slats or solid walls. In which case, this shouldn't be much of an issue. The chain link fence looks fairly good there. They just have to do those attachments. Coincidentally, a lot of the neighbors already have buildings or containers that already block and provide some of that screening currently. Oh, I should go back. Within 18 months, we're asking that they submit a landscaping plan that shows water-efficient landscaping that would be installed, parking lot trees, and new front landscaping along Route 66 that would bring the site into compliance with our codes. Also install an address numbers on the curb. And then within 5 years, we'd ask that they perform any necessary maintenance for the site to ensure that the yard is fully enclosed with opaque structures, fencing, or landscaping. Add improvements to the front portion of the building, and do any exterior painting or stucco repairs as well to the buildings. So they did provide a site plan that sort of shows the conceptual improvements to show how that they can make them consistent with the codes for compliance, as well as the outlined conditions of approval. You can kind of see here the parking spaces in the back to show the required parking for their employees, kind of landscaping and trees to comply with that parking requirements. All their construction equipment would be at the far back portion of the site. The two buildings there are yellow, and then the front portion there shows the handicap parking, which this is a zoomed in portion of the front area along Route 6 that shows the handicap parking loading area, the new walkway that meets the public ADA standard from the public sidewalk to the front door, and the enhanced improvements there at the entrance that show compliance. Notice was provided on October 24th to mail to neighbors as well as to the newspaper. Staff recommends the commission adopt the CEQA exemption and the resolution for approval as outlined to allow the construction equipment yard at the site of 637 East Route 66 based on the findings and subject to the drafted conditions of approval that we kind of outlined here tonight. I'm available for any questions, as well as the applicant is here, and they might like to make a brief statement as well.
Thank you. We'd now like to invite applicant Daryl Overlock from American Home Source and Kimberly Silva from Silva Backhoe Services Construction to present, limited to 10 minutes.
Good evening. Thank you for having us and listening to our story, what's going on. My name is Daryl Overlock with American Home Source. This is Mr. Silva from Silva Baco. We appreciate that you look into the fact that we are asking for this CUP for this. They are a family-owned business. They've really changed that whole area and creating a better environment for that lot. And they have moved their business from, it was
South Bay.
South Bay. Once they moved their home here, they moved their business here. And they've created their whole life here in Glendora. And this is why they're requesting this. And you want to give a little backstory about what you're doing?
Hi, thank you members for considering us tonight. I know it's a busy day here in America, so I appreciate you guys taking the time out tonight to consider us. My name is Kimberly Silva. I own the business with my husband, and we did move from the South Bay here to Glendora completely by accident. We knew within a week or two that this was our home. We got greeted with such a loving community that we knew for sure this is where we would want to move our business to. So we immediately began to look for a place here in Glendora. So we found this place and it fit perfectly. It was we thought it was too large actually because our business was so small. But we have grown and we have hired, I'm nervous, sorry. Yeah, we've hired people within the community here, and so we've been here for almost 4 years, lived here for almost 4 years, and we love this community. We want to be a part of this community. We want to grow with this community. We want to raise our kids here in this community, so we want to stay here, and yeah.
So we hope that you do approve the CUP and just know that they're using their only big truck that they have in our Christmas parade.
Yes. Probably that little one there.
So if you have any
So-
questions for us, we'd be happy to answer them. Looking good. Guess not.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for hearing it.
Thank you both.
Thank you, Mark, for all that you did.
We will now open public testimony and invite members of the public. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes, speaking only on this agenda item. If you are in attendance, please fill out a speaker card and submit it to the recording admin before the close of the public testimony period. Once recognized, speakers should advance to the podium, state your name and the subject matter you wish to discuss. And it looks like we have one public comment card here. The last name's a little tough for me to read/pronounce.
Cena.
Okay, that was going to be my guess. So Joe Cena.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Joe Cena, President and CEO of the Glendora Chamber of Commerce, and also a Glendora resident. A lot about what I was going to say has already been said, but I just wanted to kind of reiterate that I'm here to really show support of SBS Construction's conditional use permit at their location. As the chamber, we're here to help promote businesses and help connect them with everybody and really try to support when we possibly can. And working with the Silvas as chamber members, and we go to church together also. They're good people. They're honest people, and any conditions that you'll have with this CUP, I'm sure they'll have them done before your deadlines and everything. So really with that, I just want to say with your approval tonight, I'm certain they will do all the requires, probably, and then some, and so they can continue to be upstanding Glendora business owners and continue to participate in all the fun stuff we do, and then just try to help reface Route 66 and improve their small piece of that street. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Have we received any other correspondence?
We have not.
Okay. With that, we will close public testimony portion of the public hearing. And we would now like to invite the applicant Daryl Overlock from American Home Source and Kimberly Silva from Silva Backhoe Service Construction to provide summarization and closing remarks if desired.
Nope. They do not.
Okay, so we'll now close public hearing and move to discussion and deliberations from the commission. And once again, we will start with Commissioner Koss.
I think it's great to have a small business come and, take a property on Route 66 that, how shall I put this tactfully, was a little rundown and straighten it up and make it look, was that tactful? I thought that was tactful. Was a little rundown and, make it nice again. And I think that's great. The only question I had, I think the conditions are great. I'd love to see them all happen. The only question I have probably for Jeff is, or Mark, is what, do we have some kind of monitoring to make sure that these things actually happen?
Staff will have to kind of keep on it to make sure the timelines are in place and make sure it does happen. If not, we can remind them of the conditions, and there's always the threat of revoking,
Okay.
which I don't think that'd be the case here.
Yeah, I just, you always want to make sure that you're kind of monitoring and, but otherwise, I think it's great. I think it's great to have, enthusiastic small business in the city and revitalize Route 66 and take a property that was less than at its full potential, shall we say, and make it nicer. So I'm good.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis.
For Mark, is there any weekend restriction? I saw 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., but I didn't see any daily.
I did not list days, no, just the times.
It just,
I don't think they work the weekends, so I can ask, but if they did.
not that I have a problem with that. I was just curious if there was any restriction, I would
I
say.
didn't, its location didn't make me realize, think it was going to
Okay,
be
yeah.
an issue.
Other than that, if it's good enough for Joe, it's good enough for me. Welcome to Glendora.
Commissioner Norwood.
Yeah, can we go back to the conditions real quick?
Oh.
Oh, no, we went too far. One more, the timelines, I'm sorry, right there. Yeah, no, I guess I welcome them. The only thing, and I don't know if this is more of a city thing or an applicant thing, but there's no reason the curb address numbers should take 18 months. Curb address numbers could be painted within 1 month.
Technically, the city has to put those up. They have to do a permit, and city crews have to do it, so they give us some time just in case.
Okay. Well, I'd like to move that to 6 months. It's more just from a public safety standpoint. I mean, in the middle of the night, being able to see address numbers is much more advantageous than using a map book, but that's my only comment. Other than that, I think it's a good project.
And I had one question, and this might be outside of our scope, but as far as the ADA parking compliance, where does the liability lie if somebody were to come and have an incident or?
It's private property, so any lawsuit or anything regarding its AD accessibility would be with the property owner.
Not the city?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, they do have to show and provide, as part of our compliance, show parking that does comply with the California Building Code and the ADA provisions, which includes the path of travel and the parking space. Any incidents that happen on that would then be, liability would be on the property owner.
Okay, thank you. All right, so I guess we are at a point where we would request a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the CUP. I'll let you read it, but I'll make a motion to approve the CUP.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Would you like to read it before I do the
Would you like me to?
Yeah, go for it.
So recommendation to the Planning Commission adopt a categorical exemption pursuant to the California Environmental Quality Act guidelines and adopt Planning Commission Resolution PC 2024-11 entitled A Resolution of the Planning Commission adopting a conditional use permit to allow contractors' equipment yard on certain property located at 637 East Route 66, PLN 21-0028.
So again, that was a motion made by Commissioner Cos, seconded by Commissioner Davis. I'll now conduct an oral roll call. Commissioner Davis?
Aye.
Commissioner Cos?
Aye.
Commissioner Norwood?
Yes.
Vice Chair Crimmins?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
All right, items on the consent calendar will be enacted by one motion without individual discussion unless a commissioner has requested it be removed for separate discussion. Does anyone wish to pull or comment on item number 4? Seen as none, we'd like to request a motion.
Oh, I might as well make a motion since I've been doing that tonight.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, and that's to approve the consent calendar of the approval of the minutes for the October 1st, 2024 regular meeting. So I'll conduct an oral roll call. Commissioner Davis?
Abstain.
Commissioner Cos?
Yes.
Commissioner Norwood?
Yes.
Vice Chair Crimmins?
Yes.
Let the record show 3-1 vote.
Okay, on to new business. Consideration of an 18-month time extension of a development plan review permit to build a 19-unit multifamily residential project at 1121-1125 East Arrow Highway, file number PLN24-0025. And we'd like to invite the Assistant Planner, Aaron Sines, to report.
Good evening, Commissioners. Before you tonight is a request for the approval of the 18-month time extension for a previously approved project related to the construction of a 19-unit proposed multifamily residential project located at 1121 through 1125 East Arrow Highway. On August 15th, the Planning Division received an application and request letter requesting the extension for the approved project, and the applicant cited delays during the project review phase and procuring financing as reasons for the time extension. I'd like to note that the project is currently in plan check review, and they submitted the time extension early in order to have that extra bit of period to have permits issued and begin construction. So on July 18th, 2023, the Planning Commission approved the development plan review for the construction of the 19-unit multifamily development. And in the coming slides are included, the plans are included in the coming slides for reference, as there are no modifications proposed to the approved plans. As you can see here in this aerial, it is located in the L-shaped lot here along Arrow Highway before Valley Center. Again, here are previously approved plans for reference showing the 19-unit development. It is a 3-story condo development with some rooftop patios in it as well. So staff recommends that the Planning Commission adopt a resolution, excuse me, sorry, entitled Resolution of the Planning Commission approving an 18-month time extension for a new expiration date of May 5th, excuse me, sorry, I'm reading it incorrectly. A resolution of the Planning Commission approving an 18-month time extension for a development plan review related to a 19-unit multifamily residential project located at 1121 through 1125 East Arrow Highway, Glendora, California, file number PLN 24-0025. And I'm available for questions.
Thank you very much. We will now open it up for discussion and deliberations. Any questions, Commissioner Norwood? None?
I have none, thank you.
Commissioner Davis?
My question is, we've had these extensions come before us the last few years. I imagine some of it was COVID-related at some point in time, and I imagine actions by the state have had some impact on these projects. My question is why do they have to come to us? I'm not opposed to it, but I mean, we've given planning a wide berth on many other topics in terms of second-story approvals and stuff like that, and an extension doesn't even rise to the level, to me anyway, of a second-story, addition. Is that something that we could, I don't want to say pawn off on you, but, allow you latitude to approve over the counter?
Yeah, so going forward, you have, through an ordinance that was adopted probably about 6 or 8 months ago. Extensions are after that point in time, and I think it was early this year that ordinance was adopted. So projects that were approved after that point, now the director will have the ability to do extensions. This one was from before that. So the way that the resolution is written, it says the commission can grant extensions.
It's a carryover.
So this is an older one.
Commissioner Koss, anything?
I don't have any comments. No, I'm good with it.
Neither do I. So at this point, we'd like to request a motion.
Why don't I make a motion?
I'll second.
All right. So the recommendation is to adopt Planning Commission Resolution PC 2024-12, entitled A Resolution of the Planning Commission approving an 18-month time extension for a development plan review related to a new 19-unit multifamily residential project located at 1121-1125 East Arrow Highway, Glendora, California. File number PLN 24-0025.
So again, that was a motion made by Commissioner Koss, seconded by Commissioner Davis. I'll now conduct an oral roll call. Commissioner Davis?
Aye.
Commissioner Koss?
Aye.
Commissioner Norwood?
Yes.
Vice Chair Crimmins?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Okay, now on to certificate of appropriateness to allow the construction of a single-story home addition on a contributing property in the Historic Preservation Overlay Zone at 119 South Minnesota Avenue. File number PLN 24-0030. And I'd like to invite Planning Intern Kyle Hawk to report.
Hi, good evening, Commissioners. Before you tonight is a request to approve a certificate of appropriateness to allow for the construction of a home addition to a contributing resource within the Historic Preservation Overlay Zone, property address 119 South Minnesota. Staff recommends the adoption of a categorical exemption for this project pursuant to Section 15301 of the California Environmental Quality Act guidelines, and the adoption of a resolution approving the proposed project. As previously stated, the applicant is requesting a certificate of appropriateness. The addition will be 514 square feet, single-story home addition located in the HPOZ zone. So some of the legislative history on this property. It was designated as a contributing resource within the HPOZ in 1999. There's no Mills Act agreement on file at this home for with the city. On July 15th, 2014, the Planning Commission approved a certificate of appropriateness and categorical exemption for a new two-car garage, which was subsequently constructed. So the project site is located on the west side of South Minnesota Avenue, with Foothill Boulevard to the north, Sycamore Avenue to the south, and Wabash Avenue to the west. The property also has alleyway frontage on both the northern and westerly property lines, and the lot is approximately 6,400 square feet. So the project site is located within the R2 restricted multifamily residential zone with a general plan land use designation of medium to high density residential. Some of the surrounding uses include existing single family and multiple family residences with similar land use and zoning designations, with the exception of the multiple family residential zoning designation located directly to the west. Since it is a single-family use within the multifamily residential zone, it is subject to the development standards of the R1 single-family zone. The development standards table shows how the lot is considered non-conforming. However, the proposed development complies with all the development standards of the R1 zone. So here you can see the site plan, which shows the 514 square feet of area that is proposed for the house addition. You can also see the 900 square foot garage, which received a certificate of appropriateness for construction in 2014. So that's that addition area there hatched out. Here are the front and rear elevations. The front street-facing elevation will not be affected by the proposed addition, and the rear elevation is complementary in architectural style. Here on the side elevations, you can see the proposed addition will be complementary to the existing house in color, material, and finishes, including the existing gabled roof style and pitch, which will be verified during building plan check. Additionally, condition of approval has been added requiring the area of addition to be visibly differentiated with minor architectural details around windows and the door framing, slightly differentiated rafter tails, and an added vertical trim piece that physically denotes the separation point between the existing original structure and the new addition. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission adopt the categorical exemption pursuant to CEQA and adopt the approval resolution. Thank you for your consideration, and I'll be available to answer any questions you may have regarding this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll now open it up for discussion and deliberations amongst the commissioners. Commissioner Koss?
I don't have any comment.
Commissioner Davis?
I would ask, why would you have any delineation between the old and the new at all? I understand historic versus new, but wouldn't we want it all to blend seamlessly?
No. Per the state Secretary of Interior standards as well as our local requirements, you should be able to physically distinguish what the original historical structure is and what's a later on addition. That doesn't mean they shouldn't be same materials, same everything, but like in this case, the siding will be maybe an inch shorter, not as wide, or it might be the rafter tail might not have a little notch like the original one was. So to the naked eye, you'll say, that must be the addition, that must be the original. So you'll know historically what was the historical piece, what was a later on tack on. And that is subject to, that is compliant with the standards.
Yeah, I'd rather have it all blend seamlessly, but I understand. That's all I have, really.
Thank you. Commissioner Norwood?
No, I didn't catch your name, Mr. Intern, but well done. Good job.
My name is Kyle, by the way.
Yeah, good job, Kyle. So, yeah, I have no other questions.
All right. With that, we can go ahead and request a motion.
Well, I will make a motion.
Is there a second?
Second,
All right.
Everything's left-leaning tonight.
Okay, the recommendation
Unfortunately
that
not.
the Planning Commission adopt of a categorical exemption pursuant to 15301 of the California Environmental Quality Act guidelines and adopt Planning Commission Resolution PC 2024-13 entitled A Resolution of the Planning Commission Approving a Certificate of Appropriateness to allow the construction of a single-story home addition within the Historic Preservation Overlay Zone at 119 South Minnesota Avenue, Glendora, California, file number PLN 24-0030.
And again, that was a motion made by Commissioner Koss, seconded by Commissioner Davis. I'll now conduct an oral roll call. Commissioner Davis?
Aye.
Commissioner Koss?
Aye.
Commissioner Norwood?
Yes.
Vice Chair Crimmins?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you. And we will now move to closing statements. So Commissioner Norwood, any closing statements?
No, I have none tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Davis?
Holiday stroll is coming up. Don't miss it.
Thank you. And Commissioner Koss?
I don't really have a closing statement. Thank you.
Thank you. Any closing statements from staff?
Just that stand by, we'll see if we have a December meeting or not. And then depending on projects and if they're ready or not.
Okay. With that said, we will adjourn the meeting at 7:49 p.m. Thank you.